Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Libris. This episode is just before Christmas, so let me wish every single one of you a very happy and Merry Christmas. I hope you'll spend these days with your family, your friends, and I suggest you find some time to spend for yourself and for your favorite hobby, which is of course books and reading. And it's the perfect season for book gifts. You can give books to the ones you love, and it's always a pleasure to receive book gifts and bookish gifts as well. So I hope you have a very Merry Christmas, and let me just tell you a couple of things about two books I've read the previous time and which I liked very much. As you probably know, I'm a fan of Philip Pullman's His Dark Materials trilogy. This trilogy is about an alternative world mingling with our own and many other worlds, with strong references to sensitive issues like religion, politics, and stuff like that. It is a very well written trilogy with many fans all over the world. I'm one of those fans, obviously. Philip Pullman has written a prequel to this trilogy, and it's going to be, if I'm not mistaken, a series, another trilogy with events that took place before the original trilogy. The first book of which is this trilogy is going to be called The Book of Dust. The first book of the new trilogy, The Book of Dust Volume 1, La Belle Sauvage, hit the bookstores, I think, a year and a half ago, and I have managed recently to get it and read it. It comes to no surprise that I really like the book. I was a fan of the original trilogies, and this book I think that does justice to His Dark Materials. It takes place some years, nearly a decade and a half before the events in His Dark Materials, when Libris was just a baby. And the book is about her first adventure. Of course, she's not, she's the main character, but she's not, as a baby, can't actively participate in anything, but there are other characters around her. The main character is very nice, and I love the way he thought and how he acted under stress, and he was quite believable and quite human. There were also the supporting characters who were very well written and acting accordingly to how they should. It's essentially an adventure, a road trip, let's say, kind of an adventure where the heroes have to overcome various obstacles in order to get to their destination, and that is exactly what happens in the book. This book is a great opportunity to delve deeper into Philip Pullman's world, to learn more things about them, and it's very nice revisiting this world again. Of course, we get to know stuff from the original trilogy, stuff that were there. We get some kind of understanding of why things are like they are, and stuff like that. And as always, Philip Pullman's books are not that innocent, that obvious. There are through fantasy, Philip Pullman manages to write about many things, about religion, politics, fanatism, and people, how people react to authority, about oppression and stuff like that, and he manages to do it in a very intelligent and reader-friendly, let's say, way. So I would recommend this book to every Philip Pullman fan out there. If you have read the original trilogy, His Dark Materials, and you loved it, then you should also read The Book of Dust. also, I would suggest it as an entry point to Philip Pullman's world. I mean, if you don't want to invest your time and money in the original trilogy, you can just get this book. This first book, get to know Philip Pullman's style of writing and Philip Pullman and the world of his Dark Materials, and decide if it's for you or not. Of course, they can be read, the original, and this one can be read quite independently, so you don't have really a problem with that. So that's all for Book of Dust Volume 1, La Belle Sauvage. I hope you read it and you enjoyed it too. A few days ago, I finished reading the third book in the Faithful and the Fallen trilogy, which is called Ruin. The first two books in the series was Malice and Valor, and we have already talked about them in previous episodes of Ex Libris, and of course there's always my reviews on Goodreads, which you can read and see what I thought of them. It's a very well written book, as the previous also in the series. It is a classic fantasy, I'd say, epic heroic fantasy. There are all the usual suspects of fantasy. There are the chosen ones, there are the traitors, there is fantasy, of course. I mean, there is magic, there are supernatural beings, and everything that goes into a good fantasy novel. It's one of these fantasy series that you actually enjoy reading. It doesn't try to be, let's say, original for the sake of it. There is, of course, original stuff in that, but it is truly original. The author doesn't try to make something new just for making noise, making something new where it's not needed. I love the way that the plot is directed by the characters and not vice versa. I mean, one common mistake, one thing I don't like in many books is that, not only in fantasy, in various genres, is where the characters are led by the plot, where the correct thing is that the characters lead the plot, and this book does it very well. There's, I mean, if you're into Ruin, into the third book, it means that you have already read the first two ones, so you are already hooked in the series. So there's no point of urging you to read it. Of course, you will read it, and of course, you will read the fourth one as well. But if you haven't read this series, I think it's a great series. It's a great fantasy series, and so go and give it a try. There was, in this book, there was lots of action, great action, nicely written scenes, and there were also main plot twists. There were twists in the main plot, and in the story arcs of the various characters. There were also lesser or more major plot twists, and that's always quite nice when that happens, and the readers get caught off guard. So yeah, it's totally recommended. The whole series is fun to read, and you can easily get it either from bookstores, or there are ebooks and the series and all the major vendors. I've read my books of the series as ebooks. I wasn't able to get a physical copy, but you can find it in every major ebook vendor in electronic form. So go ahead and give it a try. So that was all for now. Next episode, it's going to be our recap of the year, and it's going to be right before New Year's Eve. So I hope you have a very good time this Christmas, and see you in the next episode. Bye bye.